Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I talk about comics, guns, and anything fun. My name is Joey. Today I am going to be doing something fun. Now, I've watched many videos on this, and the last time anybody has really made a video on this has been about a year ago. So what is it I'm doing today? Well, if you've seen in my last video, I was talking about element, a metal element referred to as bismuth. Bismuth is a metal that's kind of like lead, except it's a hell of a lot safer to work with. Excuse me. Um, as you can see, that top piece, I've already done some stuff to, but I'm going to remelt it down for today. Yeah, excuse me again. I know that's not the result of me boiling down the bismuth or melting it down. I just have allergies out here in the valley. So anyway, um, bismuth has a very low melting point, which is why you can do it right on the stovetop. You don't need any kind of special burner to do it. Stovetop will do it just fine. And I got about 6 pounds of bismuth in here. I purchased about 50, not 50 pounds, but 5 pounds of it for about $50 on eBay. If you're gonna buy from eBay, make sure you're buying from a reputable seller, and that it's 99.9% pure bismuth. And well, let's just go ahead and get into it. Going to be making bismuth crystals out of this one, see what we come up with. I've already making quite a few already, but I still just got a lot of bismuth here, and I'll probably be buying some more to play around with to try to get bigger crystals out of. Now this is going to take a little while to melt. I'm going to go ahead and move my camera forward a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. Alright, so this will take a couple of minutes to do. I'm going to turn my exhaust fan on just a little bit higher, so you'll probably hear that noise in the back. Yeah, just go ahead and watch it melt, and when it's all said and done, we'll make some crystals. Oh, I'd also like to add too that if you are thinking about doing this, that you should do so with safety. This is going to turn into a molten metal. It'd be very wise to wear some protective eyeglasses, work in a well ventilated area, or at least with an exhaust fan going on. Like I said, it is soft, but it does still create metal fumes. Not too bad, but just to be on the safe side. Also, when you're working with hot metals like this, it'd be a good idea to wear some heat protective gloving. An oven mitt works just fine for when you're transferring the metal to the cooling pot, or you can keep it in the pan just as it is and work with it that way, but still use safety, work smart. Okay, all right, so we'll allow this to melt down and go on from there. As you may have seen, you can see now there it's already starting to melt. You can see some of the liquid there. There it goes right there. I'll also go over some of the things you're going to need to do this. You can pick this stuff up really cheap. As a matter of fact, everything that I bought here, I got for probably around $6 from like the Goodwill and Salvation Army stores. And best to use stainless steel pot, stainless steel bowl if you're going to make either a geode or even just for making your crystals. And I also got a like a cupcake tin to make little ingots of the rest of the metal that's drained out. So also a pair of cheap metal tongs to move around and to scrape off the slag when it completely melts down. You can also use a stainless steel fork, but just don't get one that you're going to be using, because it'll never become clean again with the metal that sticks to it. Same thing with the pots that you're going to be using. Get a pot that you're never going to use for cooking. It's strictly going to be for this. And if there's any kids watching, please have a parent help you with this so that you do not get hurt, because the burns can be very serious. As you can see, it's melting down pretty good. We're about 7 minutes into the video and it's only got a little bit while to go. I mean, look at the rate of that melting. It's like watching the Titanic go down again. As you can see, it's pretty much all melted down. You can still see where that ring is, so that's probably just a little bit left. Actually, no, that melted all down too. So that layer on the very top, which could either be colorful or just like a gray, that's the slag. It's impurities basically that are formed while heating it up. It's just oxidation of the metal. Just scrape that off a couple times. Have something that you don't mind destroying to dump it out on. The good thing about this metal too is if you do drop some on the floor or you drop some on your stove, once it dries, it is very easy to remove. It doesn't stick at all. It comes right up. As a matter of fact, I just got a little bit on my stove now with my wife standing right next to me, but like I said, it'll come up very easy. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and move my camera over to my next little bowl. Actually, I'm going to heat the bowl up a little bit first. The slower your cooling process, the better your crystals are going to be, the bigger they are. So let me heat that up a little bit and then I'll transfer it over. Also around this bowl, I put some tin foil around since it's a good insulator. That way too, the heat from the metal doesn't, you know, shock the bowl and cause anything to happen. You can also do this with a ceramic bowl, given that you heat it up a little bit first. That way it doesn't crack the bowl from shock as well. You could get some nice geodes from that method. I'll go ahead and turn that down. Okay, we'll go ahead and move this over here. Okay, so this is the bowl I'm going to be using. I'm going to put on some oven mitts to transfer over the metal since it's going to be hot. And see, all of that's going to stay in there pretty good. You can get some of it off, but you're never going to be able to use this pot again. Or at least I'm not going to be able to. But I only picked it up for a couple of bucks, so no love, no loss. You can just set that aside to let it cool. Alright, let me move this around again so I can work here. Okay, you're going to do the same thing with this as you did in the melting process. As the top layer starts to cool down, it'll start to oxidize. So you just scrape off those top layers for a little bit. Okay. So now that you want to have done that, it's going to of course happen again, but it's going to start to harden up. You're going to see more hardening around the edges, but in the middle you're going to start to see like square or diamond structures start to form. Those are going to be your crystals. You're going to want to keep an eye on those. You can, you know, tap on the bowl just to. I actually found that it starts to help form some crystals too if you do that. But once those crystals start forming, you'll want to keep an eye on them because it's going to start cooling very quickly, and you don't want those crystals to either stick to the side to where you can't get them, or even they might start sticking to the bottom if the crystals started growing downwards rapidly. When they start growing downwards, that's what you want because that's where your bigger crystals are going to come from. You could probably go ahead and clean it off one more time here. I've noticed too in some of my past crystal making that, like, if you poke like at the top in a certain spot, crystal structure will start to form from that. As you can see, I poked it kind of there in the middle. Go ahead and let that continue to dry or harden. Also, very important, you make sure that you do not touch the bowl with your bare hands, as it's still extremely hot. At this moment, I don't have any gloves on, but I'm not touching the bowl. I'm only using the metal tongue to touch it. The metal tongue is not hot, so it's perfectly fine. I don't know if you guys can tell in the video, I think there might be a little bit too much light on the spot, but it is starting to harden. Starting to harden right here really good. Definitely around the edges. Okay guys, you might be able to tell right here in this little corner here, this square piece, and right there, those are two crystals starting to form. You can also tell in this corner, not corner, but this part of the bowl up here, the edge of it is starting to harden and crystals are starting to make their way outward. Got another crystal forming right there. Now when you go to pull the crystals out, this is not going to do it. It's going to have too much metal attached to it, and when you go to pull it out, it's going to be very difficult to get it off, and you're going to ruin your crystal. I have found this out in one of my earlier testings. So The best thing I have found to pull them out with is a pair of, let's see, get that in there, needle nose pliers. Now you can get the ones that have the curve at the end, or these straight ones work just fine. And as you can see, even though you're going to get some metal attached to it, it's very easy to get off. There's no trace of that on here. I'm just going to move some of these crystals away from the edge. Now, oops, never mind about that. One kind of stuck on, but ended up falling off. I'm going to do a little experiment with that one I just pulled out. It was starting to form a crystal, but it was still very flat. I've never tried to put one back in to see if it would start, continuing. All right, guys. Can't get it in there. There it is. This one, it's got a few little crystals on it, but I probably should have let that one go a little bit longer. As you can see, it's already started to oxidize. You can see different colors in there, mainly purples and golds. Now also, when you pull these crystals out, they're still going to be very hot, so do not touch them with your fingers. Okay, so that didn't do what I wanted it to do. So alright, there are some crystals that form there, not too big, but still have some. And actually on the other side there was a crystal forming from one that I had dropped a little while ago. I don't seem to be having too good of luck on this one, so I'm going to pull out one more and then I'm going to pour off the rest and see maybe if we got a nice geode. This one came out flat too. Alright guys, I'm going to pour this off and then we'll see what's on the inside. Well guys, I actually got some nice looking crystals on the inside there. A little bit hard to see. Well, actually you can see it. There's a crystal right there at the top. Some other ones kind of on the inside there. And as you can see, blues in there, golds. So actually that, even though I didn't get some really good crystals off the top, I've got a good geode here. I probably will end up keeping this one. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, you can find these on eBay. Bismuth, raw bismuth, find on eBay, you can find on Amazon. It's going about for 10 bucks a pound right now. So check it out. Make sure you're getting the 99.9% pure bismuth, and enjoy.